Hey there, you awesome bipeds, quadrupeds, and even the occasional dinosaurs. It is I, Little Wolf, and welcome to my den. Go ahead and come on in, but please wipe your paws before entering, and go ahead and take a seat by the fire. The cauldron is bubbling, so you can have your choice of tea, coffee, or hot chocolate. And if you want, you can make a few snacks or something like that, because tonight's going to be another Fireside Tale. But before we get to our tale of darkness and gloom, if you ever feel like you're in a dark place and you need somebody to talk to and you don't feel like talking to anybody online or any of your friends and family, you can always call the suicide hotline number at 1-800-273 8255. Once again, that's 1-800-273-8255. And that's the U.S. suicide hotline number. And they also have a texting option, which is 741-741. In case you don't feel like you want to talk and you just want to text it out. And if you're in any other country outside of the US, which is pretty much all the other ones, you can always go to opencounseling.com/suicide-hotlines. And they'll have a list of all the countries that are there and show you which websites or numbers you can go to. So if you ever feel like you need to talk to somebody, those are places you can look. Plus you can always look me up inside of Discord, or you can look me up in the YouTube chats. I'll put a link to my Discord, to my den, and to my swordsman in the description. But like I said, tonight I felt like going through another story since people have appeared to like the last one I did. And I looked up more stories, and this one is called Michael's Gift, and it's by Robert Hasker, and it's a fun, interesting little short story. Well, I wouldn't say fun. It has its really dark moments, and it kind of has some stuff that could be kind of controversial due to some things that have happened within USA's past. But as I read the story, I really liked it and enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too. So let's go ahead, sit back, turn out the lights, enjoy our warm drinks, and enjoy whatever snacks you would like to have. And let's dive into Michael's Gift. Michael's Gift by Robert Hasker. I hear she's a witch. I hear she kidnaps and cooks children, and then feeds them to her cat. The school librarian. Was she a witch? I don't know. And I suppose no one will know for sure. It's just she looks so much like a witch, I guess she had to be. She was tall, thin, and had a crooked nose on which perched a pair of wire-frame glasses. Her skin was mottled, pale, and her graying hair tightly wound into a bun. If she wasn't a witch, I don't know who would be. Are you sure? I said, watching her through the window at the door. Why would the school have a witch who cooks children? You mean you don't know about the book? I turned around and saw one of the older boys in the 6th form. He was leaning against one of the notice boards. I shook my head as the witch brushed past the door. The corridor went cold. I could see my breath in the air. My friend scurried away. She's here to guard it, he said, his voice a mere whisper. A book she keeps in her office. Come on, I said. A spell book? I guess she rides a broomstick home. Or is it a vacuum cleaner? Does the book have eyes? Is it made of human flesh? He leaned in close. He He lowered his voice and stole a look through the window to make sure he wasn't overheard. "It's more than a book," he said. "It's a gateway to any place, any time you want." I came close to taking it, but she caught me, said I hadn't earned my passage, so she made me pay for it. He held up his hand, missing all but one blackened finger. "That was a fire," I said. "You told me so yourself. In the science lab. We all know it. Mr. Stubbs said it was as well." "Believe what you want," he said. "I would do anything to try and get that book again, but I'll never get close. She knows when I'm around. Look." He pressed his withered and blackened finger against the glass. I looked through the window and saw her, the witch. She stood perfectly still, ignoring those around her, just staring at me. My blood froze. My skin prickled. "You see," said the older boy, "she can feel me. She knows me. But she doesn't know you. Not yet." I shivered. "Why would I want to find it?" "You're kidding," he said, smirking as he started to walk away. "You're telling me you wouldn't want to change what happened. Think of how different it would be if that day had happened again." And like that, he was gone, leaving me alone to think of what happened that day. He was right. I could still hear the screams in my head, every night, in every dream. I had to do it. Hours had passed. The school day long over. I had skipped lessons and took refuge at the top of the playing field. Like just before a summer storm, there was electricity in the air. Gray clouds swirled over the school, the ominous rumble of thunder in the distance. "Would you change the past?" "What?" One of my friends who had scurried away when we were outside the library sat beside me, playing with his maroon tie. "If you could change the past," I said, "would you?" "No." "Just like that," I said. "Not even a maybe. Nothing you'd want to try again. See if it turned out different." He shook his head. "You can't change the past," he said. "It's done. You've got to live with what you did, whatever choices you made." "What if I can't?" I said. "What if I can't live with what I did?" "What happened on that day was nothing you did. You did nothing wrong." "Easy for you to say." "No, it isn't. I was there too, remember?" He lifted his shirt, and I saw an angry crimson wound under his ribcage. It hadn't healed. "I thought about that day," he said. "All the things that could have worked out differently. Every choice I made. Every decision agonized and debated in my head. I realized that we can do everything right and still lose. That's not a choice. That's just luck." "But what if I could change it?" I said. "What if I could start that day again? Think how different it could be." "You can't," he said. "So you need to stop. Forget it." The rain started to fall, slow at first, but soon in drenching sheets accompanied by roars of angry thunder that rattled across the sky. Towards the school, I saw small black figures darting across the playground, seeking shelter, holding books above their heads to protect them from the rain. "I'm sorry," I said. "I don't think I've remembered it right." "What?" "Your voice. It isn't right." "Of course it isn't right," he said, standing up and turning to look at me. his face turning as dark gray as the clouds behind him. I'm not really here, am I? I'm just sorry you can only remember me like this. I never wanted that for you. I wanted you to remember the kid you copied every test from. Not every test. He didn't speak. It wasn't him anymore. The warm feeling I had being beside him was gone. Taken by an abject terror so deep I couldn't move, his mouth opened, and his jawline stretched. Rows and rows of black and bloody teeth spat from his mouth as I heard him scream. My eyes opened into darkness and I cried out. The clouds in my dream replaced by the swirling pattern on the ceiling in my room. The only wet from sweat and urine soaked into my pajamas and bed. I stayed awake for the rest of the night. Each time I closed my eyes, I could see his teeth, the color of rubies, and the sound of the rain gently tapping against my bedroom window. I realized that now was the time. I needed to go back. Do you blame me? Morning had taken a long time to come, and it seemed reluctant. It was still dark outside. What for? Like the sun, that day, my mom was slow on the uptake. Everything, I said. Letting him in, the arguments after, making Dad do what he did. She turned and faced me, taking my face with her hands. She kissed me on the forehead. Your dad did it because he wanted to, she said. It's not your fault. None of it was. It was all him. Something in her voice made me feel like she didn't quite mean it. I dreamt about him again last night. Your dad? No, I said. Him. The playing field again? I nodded. It was so real, I said. I could sense, feel, and taste everything. I don't even know what is real anymore. The washing machine started its spin cycle. I'm sorry for the mess, I said, watching the duvet through the round glass door. Don't be, she said, not entirely convincing. I just thought we'd gotten over the dreams. It didn't seem the right time to tell her they happened every night. Sunlight crept through the library windows, casting orange shadows on the bookshelves. The room danced. Light sparkled on every surface, but it was deathly quiet. If the witch was here, I thought, she was hiding. Getting into school early had been the easy part, save for a near miss with the maroon jersey groundskeeper. But here I could feel my heart pounding. I daren't take a breath. I could feel the library watching me. And where should I look? Where would the witch keep this book? If it even existed. I began to doubt myself as I rode into the school this morning. What if I was being led on, and a group of sixth formers jumped out and shouted, "Surprise!" But then I remembered the blackened hand, the dreams, the screaming, people hiding where they could and barricading themselves in the classrooms, the bangs, sounding like fireworks, and me holding the door open for him. I could only go forward by going into the past. This life, this reality I had created by doing nothing, was killing me slowly but effortlessly. Moving through the library was like wandering through a forest. The bookshelves loomed over me like trees, twisting and contorting my senses. I didn't even know where I was. What was I even looking for? And then, as if to dissuade me from turning around, the answer presented itself. A door. A single frosted pane of glass with black peeling letters that spelt out Librarian's Office. The room turned colder, and I could see my breath in the air. She was here. I knew it. And she knew I was here too. I tried to turn, but my feet wouldn't move. I was paralyzed, just like my dreams. It was like trying to run through treacle. I closed my eyes. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. But each time I opened my eyes, I was still here, frozen to the spot as the peeling painted door started to creak open. Pinpricks all over my arms as I could feel the air freezing. I closed my eyes again. Next time you open them, you'll be in your bed, soaked through but safe. Think of the ceiling. Think of the pattern. Imagine it, and you'll be there. I opened my eyes, and there she was, standing in the doorway. I was still in the library, still rooted to the spot, and face to face with the witch. She looked even more terrifying than she had done the other day. Her skin was graying and more mottled than it had been, and she gave off a foul smell of rotting flesh. She smelled like a pumpkin that had been left to rot. My eyes watered as I felt the familiar trickle down my trouser leg. I tried to scream, but her hand moved quickly to cover my mouth, and as I drifted unconsciously, the last thing I saw was her pulling me into her office, her black eyes alight, and what looked like a perverse pleasure. Another victim. One more soul. My eyes opened, and I was back at home. Another dream, I thought, but something felt different. Something wasn't right. Someone was talking. I turned over, and one of the cobwebs of sleep had cleared as I saw my alarm clock. 7 a.m., and it had turned the radio on. Good morning. Today is Tuesday, July 13th, 1999. The government is working on a tax advantage share scheme to encourage share ownership. British Airways has been fined £4 million for giving travel agents rebates to sell its tickets instead of Virgin Atlantic's, and struggling retailer House of Pfizer has sold 15 freeholds in a move which nets over £170 million. Then I heard his voice. My dad's voice. He banged on the bedroom door. For some reason, I instinctively shielded my face. "Wake up," he said. "You got to be at school in an hour." Feeling sick, I touched my crotch, but felt nothing. It was dry. Relieved, I pulled up my pajama sleeves and looked at my wrists. With my other hand, I touched the skin on my wrist and felt it smooth. No angry red straight lines crossing like lines on a map. I was here, a year in the past. The last 12 months had gone. "What time do you call this?" Dad stared at me as I came downstairs. "And you look a mess. Not another dream." "What?" I said, panicking. "A dream?" "Doesn't matter," he said, looking me up and down. "Just get to school." "Where's Mom?" "She's gone to work early," he said, not looking up from his newspaper he was reading. "And I won't tell you again." That meant he had beaten her. And after he'd left, Mom had been less cautious about hiding what had happened to her when he'd been around. Whilst that hadn't actually happened yet, I still remembered the conversations. Part of me wanted to stay and talk to him, try and explain what was happening, but I knew he wouldn't believe me. He always thought I was a bit odd, not quite the son he was hoping for. Many times I had overheard him talking to Mom about me. More than once he had used the word queer. when she tried to defend me or argue that my insecurities were due to his absence. He hit her. "What are you still doing here?" he said, raising to his feet. The newspaper lay on the table. Now or never, I thought. "I'm sorry I didn't turn out the way you wanted me," I said. "I'm a coward, a wimp, and I know you hate me for it." For a moment he looked disarmed. Not quite the conversation he was expecting. It didn't take him long to recover. "It's not your fault," he said. "It's your mother. She's too soft with you. Now get to school. I don't want to be speaking to your teacher about you missing PE again, now do I?" Only 2 months ago, that missed lesson caused me a week of beatings. My punishment for telling the PE teacher I didn't want to throw a ball around the field, and then fled to the changing room until the bell had rung. Naturally, my parents had been called about my poor attitude and sportsmanship. My father hadn't missed the opportunity to straighten me out, and criticized my mom at the same time for failing to do so. Part of me wanted to stay and confront him further, saying all the things I never got a chance to, but he seemed insignificant somehow. I had another chance today, and it wouldn't be wasted on him. He didn't know it, of course, but I was a year older than he thought I was, and whilst his abuse had caused anger inside me, the injustice of why he picked on me because I was different had made him resent me. I no longer feared him. Instead, I pitied him, the man in front of me. He was nothing, and couldn't hurt me anymore. I went to school without another word. It happened at midday, only 4 hours to go. The bell rung, 3 hours to go. Registration first, then assembly. In my head, I had it planned out. I would attend registration, but skip assembly. That would give me time to think. My guilt had made me think about everything I had done that day, or today, if you will. I knew all the steps I'd taken, all the turns I had made, and where it had gone wrong. "Are you coming tonight?" I turned around. There he was. No bloody teeth, no gray face, no bullet hole in his chest. My friend. "Sorry?" "Don't tell me you've forgotten," he said. "Your memory is really bad. The party." "Oh," I said. "The way you remember it, the party had been cancelled." "I'm not sure. Are you?" "The place has a pool," he said, wild excitement in his eyes. "And she says she's bringing drinks." "Drinks?" "Vodka," he said, looking at me curiously. "Are you sure you're all right?" "I didn't sleep much," I said. It was a half-truth. "Sorry." "Catch me after the assembly," he said as the bell rung. "I was thinking about skipping double English. Meet at the usual place?" I hadn't had time to think it out yet, but the enormity hit me. What if something I said now would change everything, make something happen that I hadn't taken into account? "Sure," I said. "I'll see you then." It hit me. I didn't have a plan. I couldn't plan for this. I just had to be in the right place at the right time. But now I knew what decision I'd made. Not the wrong one. And no one would die because of me. I woke, and my eyes hurt. There was a strong white light. I squinted. I heard someone shout and saw my mom sitting beside me. "Mom?" "Don't move, darling," she said, shouting again for help. "The nurse is coming." "Nurse?" I looked around and heard a beeping noise. I was wired to a machine. There were tubes coming out of me. "What happened?" I said. Where am I? You're in the hospital, Mom said. What were you thinking? I don't understand, I said. I don't remember doing anything. Nothing at all? No, I said. I was speaking to a friend, but that was before the assembly. Then I just woke up here. I'm not sure now is the right time, she said, and started getting up, but I grabbed her hand. Please, I said, tell me. I saw the look in her eyes, and I realized I hadn't stopped it at all. I could tell. There was a man, she said, and he'd come to school. We don't know who he was or why he was there. I do. I knew exactly who he was. I guess she didn't think I was ready to hear that yet. For some reason you were the first one he met, she said. I was told you were just standing in the reception area waiting for him. I don't remember any of it, I said. None of it at all. And before he could do anything, Mom said, you pulled the fire alarm. Where is he now? He's gone, she said. The police have him. They said you made him second guess what he was doing. He tried to run, but they caught him. Then why am I here if no one was hurt? Just a precaution, Mom said. They said you were suffering from shock. The door opened, and the nurse walked in. She seemed familiar. I'm going to the canteen, Mom said. Do you want something? I shook my head. None of this seemed real. Tears formed in my eyes. This couldn't be a dream. It can't be. I closed my eyes and opened them. Still here. Not at home. Not in my own bed. Then I realized. I smelt her. That rotting smell. It was her. She was here. The nurse turned and looked at me and smiled. The witch. She bent over me, her face close to mine, and I could see her black eyes darting with excitement. I wasn't afraid of her, though. Not this time. Why are you here? I whispered. You were given what you wanted, she said, the rotting smell fading. You wanted a chance to do right, to save them, and you did it. But there has to be a price. And that price is me. She smiled, and the fear I had of her was gone. She leaned in and kissed my forehead. Large black feathered wings formed from her back, and she disappeared. The room went quiet for a few moments before I heard my mom come back into the room, just as the machines keeping me alive started to wail. Alright, so I guess we kinda know what's gonna happen to Michael now, but at least he did get the chance to kinda go back into the past and fix something that he thought he did wrong. And I kinda wish we could do some of that with the things that have happened in our past. I know there are things I would like to try and go back and change. I've done some pretty bad things in my past, and I've paid the price for them. But then again, without some of those things that had happened then, I wouldn't be the wolf I am now. And I probably wouldn't want to help people as much as I do with my channel, or being in YouTube and talking with people in the chats. So I'm kind of happy with the things that have happened in my past, because they help make me the wolf I am today. But I hope you all enjoyed this quick little story and had fun listening to it, and thank you for joining me here in my den to have a quick break from your day. And if you did like it, go ahead and click that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit the subscription button and the little bell button so you know whenever I put up a new video. And if you know people who like scary stories, share it with them. See if they get a kick out of it. Because I enjoy having a good time and telling stories and just having fun with you bipeds, quadrupeds, and even occasional dinosaurs. It's my goal to give you guys a break from the mundane world. Give you a break from all of the stuff that's kinda crazy, and it just seems like it's only gonna get crazier. It's so weird out there now, knowing all of this stuff is slowly happening all over again. But we made it through the last few years okay. And we'll make it through this alright. But I love all you bipeds, quadrupeds, and even occasional dinosaurs so much. Thank you so much for stopping into my den and letting me share this story with you. I hope you guys have a good rest of the week. And soon my cartoons revisited will be up later on. Probably sometime within the next 24 hours-ish. But until then, remember, we live on one planet. So let's at least be civil. And I'll talk with you bipeds, quadrupeds, and occasional dinosaurs soon. Wolf, out.